meeting, May 9th, 2024 at 6 P M. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Board member roll call.
Carl Strohmeyer,
Mike Gardner.
Jamie Percy.
William Cottrell.
Can everyone rise for the pledge of allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Approval of agenda. On the agenda, we need to add a cannabis manufacturer license application. Where would you like to put that?
Want to put it?
Let's put it, let's put it as 12A. That way everyone is,
Yeah.
all of our guests are
Sounds good.
done by then. Is that all right with everyone? 12A?
Make a motion to approve with a change, or addition.
I'll second.
I'll read the agenda just so we know afterwards. And I already have a motion. Public comment, approval of minutes, April 25th, May 2nd. Warrants, updates from town officials. Vermont's 250th anniversary celebration planning group. Donald Campbell and Sarah Gardner, discussion of partnership to complete the forest management plan for the town forest. Grant updates, the MERP mini grant award and agreement and watershed grant update. Discussion of moving remaining monies in the PHRRL fund to the newly established cemetery reserve fund and possible action. Cannabis license is 12A, public comment, executive for personnel, possible action and or announcement and adjourn. I have a motion, I have a second. Any more corrections, addition? All in favor?
Aye.
Any public comment, Hannah? Perfect. Approval of minutes, April 25th, 2024.
So move.
Second.
Any corrections, additions, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Minutes of May 2nd, 2024.
So move.
Second.
Corrections, additions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Warrants, accounts payable, May 3rd, $92,763.82.
Second.
Questions, corrections,
Nope.
comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Accounts payable, May 10th, $29,813.77.
So move.
Second.
Corrections? Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Payroll, May 3rd, $11,512.36.
So move.
Second.
Corrections, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Abstain. Payroll, May 10th, $10,792.33.
So move.
Second.
Questions, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Updates from town officials.
So I just have the one from Joel, just a quick update on what we're doing. They're crushing gravel and making sand, grading on Niles, Ladd and Mason Hill North, stumping on Cedar Hill Road, widening the road, and they're going to be seeding and mulching soon. And they're ditching on Niles and Mason Hill North as well. That's it from Joel.
Nothing from Tom or Darcy. Okay. Zoning is just standard, zoning permits for there's some minor subdivisions, a couple of them. I had some questions about moving a right of way. Met with a lady today about her property and what she can do with it as far as usage. That's about it for zoning. I'm Joel's, I should have, it's up there. I went down Cedar Hill Road today for the first time. It looks really good. It looks really good. They're doing a really good job. And I called Joel this morning to let him know, to tell his crew that I haven't been anywhere else around where everybody's working, but the guys that are doing Cedar Hill, it looks really good. It looks great, actually. Just want to get that out there.
Let's get some room around the corner.
It's, yeah, and it just looks nice. It's, you know, it's needed to be done.
The pole didn't look so hot either.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Finally got that down.
Yep. No, everything's looking really good. And the weather holds off, we'll be in good shape, but who knows? Okay. Brings us to the 250th anniversary celebration planning group, which is Joyce and Jonah, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you want to join us at the table, Jonah? It's easier to hear our microphones on the table.
Yes, indeed. So, first of all, thank you for letting me come speak to you today, and thank you to Joyce and Ken Held for inviting me as well. My name is Jonas Spivak. I wear a number of hats, and today, one of the hats I'm wearing is as Commissioner for the Vermont 250th Anniversary Commission. I was appointed by Governor Scott to that in 2021. I also serve on the Bennington Regional 250th planning effort, and I serve as the chair in that. In addition to that, my day job is I work for the town of Bennington. I'm the communications coordinator for the town. And I'm grateful to them for allowing me to do this as part of my work. Because honestly, our local history and the upcoming 250th anniversaries are incredibly important to who we are as a town and a community and a region. So that's what I'm here to talk to you about. So first of all, what anniversaries are we talking about? Obviously, there's the 2026 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. That's the 250th anniversary of the founding of our country. By the way, they're calling it the semi-quincentennial. Another name for it is the bicinquentenary, which nobody can remember. So we're mostly just calling it the 250th. And that seems to resonate with most folks, right? Exactly. But here's the thing.
No need to read more into it than it actually.
Exactly. But here's the thing. For us, our story begins before 2026. And in fact, we are going to start our kickoff in 2025. And the reason is because that's the year that Ethan Allen and the Green Mountain Boys from our area went and captured Fort Ticonderoga and Crown Point, the first victory of the American Revolution and Vermont's moment on the national stage. So we felt that we would be remiss if we did not include that in the anniversaries that we need to celebrate. So then, of course, we'll use that federal anniversary that we'll all be celebrating around the 4th of July, 2026. That's going to be our big federal celebration. We're all going to be on board, but let's use that federal national celebration to propel us towards our own signature anniversary, which is in 2027. That's the 250th anniversary of the founding of Vermont, an independent republic for 14 years, the first constitutional democracy on the North American continent, 10 years before the federal constitution was created, and the battles of Hubbardton and Bennington. So we're starting a little early, we're ending a little late. So it's a 3-year spread of anniversaries that we're looking at. So I am checking my phone because I would want to make sure I don't forget things. I'm not checking my email, although if I could do that while publicly speaking, that would be a really cool skill to have. I thank Joyce and Ken for inviting me here today, but I also want to give credit to Walt Klinger in the Historical Society. Because it was his idea to bring the historical societies together from our region to start planning our kickoff in 2025. So how we're going to do that, the Ethan Allen story and the Green Mountain Boys and their march through all of our towns here in Bennington County, and then continuing on, of course, to Castleton and then on to Fort Ticonderoga and Crown Point. So he was sort of the genesis of this group of historical societies working together. He also came up with the theme for this year. So yeah, it's not an anniversary year yet, but we want to build awareness. We want to start fundraising so we can do stuff in these anniversary years. And his idea for a theme was, let's celebrate the Liberty Pole raisings. So what is that? It's literally kind of what it sounds like. Communities in the 13 colonies would raise a pole up in the middle of their town, kind of thumbing their nose at the British, and they would nail proclamations to it. Things like, down with the Stamp Act, no taxation without representation, name your proclamation here. And they would also even put their own local news, which would be posted on there for the locals to read. Then, of course, the British would come and tear it down, and then we'd put it back up again, because that's what we were doing the year before we started shooting at each other, which is what happens in 2025, our actual kickoff year. So we're here before you today with really two asks. And the first one is a kind of a light lift, and perhaps it was even in your select board packets. The state of Vermont, through the Vermont 250th Commission that I mentioned that I serve on, we've put out a resolution that we're asking towns and communities in Vermont to sign supporting this 250th resolution, supporting the idea that the 250th anniversary of not just the country, but of Vermont's founding and the Green Mountain Boys is worth celebrating. And by signing that resolution, all you're committing to is saying that you agree to have a point person in your community be a liaison with our state commission. So as information comes out, we know who in your town to send it to. In the bicentennial, in 1976, every Vermont town and village signed the resolution. I'd like to see that happen again this time, and I would like Bennington County to be the first one to get all of our towns and villages, 17 of them, to sign the resolution. So far, Shaftesbury, Bennington, Arlington, Sunderland, Dorset, Manchester have signed. We would love to have Pownal join the ranks of those who have signed. Again, there's no obligation beyond providing a point person in your community. And there's even a valid reason to have that in the short term, because there is a $1,000 planning grant available to communities. And it's a pretty quick turnaround for the initial round. It's May 15th. Yikes, that's next week. Super easy form to fill out. It took me about 15 minutes to do one for Bennington. And there's even gonna be a second round, June 15th. But that's an example of the kind of immediate benefit you might get from signing the resolution. And more importantly, let's connect you with what we're doing at the commission. So as stuff comes out, you know about it. The second thing is, I mentioned that Walt Klinger had this idea of all the historical societies working together on planning for our kickoff year in 2025. We actually couldn't resist starting earlier. So like I said, we're doing the fundraising and awareness stuff this year. There's going to be an event in Bennington on Battle Day weekend, a Liberty Pole raising, that I mentioned, and a gala dinner that night in the North Shire at Equinox Hotel. So we've been meeting in the various towns at the different historical societies. We've met in Shaftesbury, we met in Arlington, we met in Dorset, we met in Manchester and Bennington. So it was only fair that we give Pownal a chance. And of course, we'd be honored to come here. So our second ask is, could we use this space for our meeting on June 5th? Thank you, Joyce. So that's really what we're here asking for tonight, and also to answer any questions you might have as these anniversaries loom. Joyce, please, anything to add or your thoughts or comments?
No, I think you covered it very well. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So if there's any questions, Carl has one.
Yeah, please.
We're gonna have the overall. How does Pownal's history come into that? I mean, I have no problems. I'll dotted line, I'll sign it, but I don't want Pownal's contribution to Vermont's founding to be, I don't want it to overshadow anybody else's, but I don't want anybody else's to overshadow Pownal's.
Yeah.
But that is my basic concern, that's all.
Yeah.
I could answer that.
Oh, please.
I can answer that because the Historical Society has a plan for what we're going to do. And that is, there was two gentlemen from Pownal that joined the Green Mountain Boys when they were coming up through Williamstown and recruiting. They couldn't recruit too much because they were afraid in Pownal there was a lot of loyalists, and so they had to do it undercover. But they found Mr. Dunning and Mr. Wright, and they signed up. And so
And Mr. Eli Noble.
Well, I don't think
He was a captain serving in and went to the Battle of Bennington.
right, but that was later on. We're talking about for Ticonderoga.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we're zeroing in on those two gentlemen. And what we're going to do is, because we're so involved with family histories, we're going to do a profile of each of those men and their families. And we will also cover what the families were doing while those men were off fighting. We want to know who was taking care of the farm. Well, of course, it was the wife, but we want to put the spotlight on the families too.
So you're basically gonna do that for,
We're going to do that.
that for Ty, and then you'll do that again for the Battle of Bennington,
For 2027, correct.
2027.
So, but May 2nd, of 2025 is the week, it's the day, the weekend, whatever, that they came through. Okay, so that's when they were recruiting.
Yeah.
That's what we're aiming for to do.
Okay.
And we're going to do what I call a mini moving wall. I mean, that's, you know, the moving wall for the Vietnam veterans, whoever. We're going to do a mini moving wall, and we're going to highlight those two gentlemen. We're going to, you know, obviously they do the 250 to give all that, but we're going to do this wall, not a very big one, but it's going to move. It's going to be here at the town hall, maybe, it's going to be at the library. It's going to be the different churches. It's going to be wherever somebody will let us have it. It's going to move around our community so that it's educating people what's happening. It's letting people know who was involved, who we should be proud of, why we should be proud. And so it'll, you know, get us excited about doing other X number of years that we're going to be partying. So we'll be celebrating, but we'll be adding, yes.
Yeah.
But that's,
Just one anniversary.
Oh, please.
The 300th anniversary of settlement of Pownal.
mhm,
Ooh,
right.
that's right.
Yeah.
So it was
This year.
1727 with the Dutch settlement, is that correct?
Settled here,
Yes.
Yes.
Well, 2010, we did our 250th.
That's of Pownal, but not the settlement from the Dutch, that's settled before that.
That's right. Yes.
So much good history
Yes.
right here in this community. And so important for our kids and our youth to learn and be educated about this history. That's what makes them excited about our town. That's what gets them to come back here after they've gone off of their education or whatever they do, or they just stay here. So that pride of place illustrated and highlighted by your historical society, wonderful.
And of course, the moving wall will be at the school because we're heavily involved in sharing and educating. So, you know, that would be there too. We want to bring history to life. We want to bring these gentlemen's story to life. We want to bring their family's story to life. So that, you know, if you're a descendant, you're going to be very proud. But as being residents of Pownal, you're going to be, wow, proud also. So we want to get that feeling going. So I think this is,
Excellent.
yeah.
And it's a collaborative. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I'll be, when we get to 27 and we're talking about the Battle of Bennington, it'll be great to hear about Eli Noble.
Yes. Yeah, and it's Pownal has a wonderfully complicated history with the battle. They sent 60 men to fight with the Americans at the Battle of Bennington. And they sent 60 men to fight with the British at the Battle of Bennington. So, and it just speaks to that element of the Revolutionary War that was also kind of like a civil war, right?
Well, it was a civil war.
It was a civil war. Thank you. Yeah, well said. So lots to uncover, lots to unpack. And just excited to have Pownal be part of that. They're already showing leadership in terms of some of the things we're doing as a county. But the key is we're working together to try to maximize what we can do, what could be possible. I mean, come on. We are the county that built the Battle Monument, the tallest man-made structure in the entire state of Vermont to this day. And that's because we think big. And that's what we're doing for this time around as well. We're trying, but together we got a shot at it.
How close are you guys? Getting all the signatures?
No,
How close are you?
Well, for the resolution,
Yes.
you can decide that tonight.
No, how many? out of
How
the
many towns?
are-
So
So
in
far.
Bennington, I think I named off for 7 or 8.
Seven.
So we're probably about halfway
Okay.
there.
There.
And I'll tell you right now, we are ahead of the rest of the state in terms of numbers. We've been working on this since 2021, starting to bang that 250th drum.
And remember, they came to Pownal first.
That's right.
So we should have been the first. That's okay, we can be the eighth.
So I
But, yeah.
have a resolution template. I'm not sure that it got forwarded. I think I forwarded it, but I can't really remember, but I will finish the template and get that all to you so you can read it, and then bring it
Okay.
back.
okay,
If you want to decide to sign it, and if you're willing to let them use the room, I will be here to let them in and be here for the meeting.
My question, the only question I had on that was to Hannah. DRB meets on Wednesday nights. Normally, are they in here June fifth.
Is that gonna be a
We don't have
conflict?
anything scheduled.
No.
And it's from 4 to 5.
Oh, okay,
So it's
that's fine.
before,
Okay.
before any.
I just didn't want to
Absolutely.
conflict, with somebody else that was in here, that's all. So that's the only, the question I had on that. Joyce, this is probably a question for you. I'm a little intrigued, by the Freedom Pole.
The Liberty.
Liberty Pole. yeah.
Liberty Pole. Did Pownal have a Liberty Pole, do you know? And if so,
That's
where was it?
complicated.
I don't think it did,
Okay,
but I hope that it will.
that's where I was going with it.
Nice.
That's exactly where I was headed with it, to be honest with you.
Tara and I have been talking out of school, as I sit here in school, about it, because I think it is a great opportunity for us to get something here on the town property that people can come, I mean, I know they call them kiosks now, but we're gonna have a Liberty Pole, something. Anyway, we can get our expertise in there. And
Okay,
I think it would be great if we had a Liberty Pole. here.
that's where I was going.
Yes,
That's,
yes.
that was, that part of it intrigued me.
Mhm.
So I would love to see that come back.
Me too.
However, we need,
Well, Tara and I will keep pushing that because I think we both love the idea.
good.
I do like that idea.
I mean, personally, I do too, so.
Yeah.
I think it's just something pretty cool. I'm a huge history buff
Mhm.
anyways, US history and the rest of it's whatever. I mean, it's all there, but.
So you're gonna get the resolution back to us that we can sign, okay?
And if you just give it to Joyce, she can get it to me, or you can send it directly to Laura Trishman, who's the chair of the Vermont 250. Either one will work.
I believe once we see a resolution, I believe we're all set to sign it. I don't see any.
And I might even suggest maybe Joyce might be your contact person that you may want to, because that is really the one thing you have to do is specify who is going to be our contact person with the state. And obviously, she's shown herself to be well suited for that.
That's
Up to you.
If she,
Tara is representing the town,
Oh.
because Tara and I have been talking back and forth, yes, so however it flows, it will flow.
it sounds like we're
Make it
in
work.
good shape there as far as that goes.
Definitely.
So, okay,
Because I'll
perfect.
go to the meetings and bring that.
We need a motion for June
Thank you.
fifth or?
No, I don't think we need a motion, do we?
Did.
Or do we want, you want them? No,
No.
we just approve
Give
it.
them a-
We don't need a motion.
All right.
So you're, June fifth, you're fine.
Thank you.
Great meeting. And once we see a resolution, I'm sure at our next regular meeting in 2 weeks, we'll sign that resolution
Wonderful. That's awesome.
and move it forward.
Be great to have Pownal on board, and thank you very much for your time. I really.
I'm gonna hold you to the Liberty Pole.
I'm telling you.
I'm confident these two women will pull it off.
It's gonna be the uphill stepper.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. All right, Donald Campbell from the Vermont Land Trust, Sarah Gardner from Williams College. Discussion of the partnership to complete the forest management plan for the Pownal County Forest. Hello, Donald.
Oh, Sarah's not here yet.
Okay,
I think she was planning to be here at 6:30.
Okay.
Have you got another item on your agenda you could
Mhm.
shuffle around, a cannabis license or
We'll
something?
just keep going to everything else until she comes.
Is the board comfortable with that, moving on and then coming back to that agenda?
I don't have a problem with it.
I don't either, just want to make sure that the board is all, yep, no problem.
Okay, thanks, I'll just.
So we're gonna, hold off on, item 10 on the agenda. We're gonna move to 11 and come back to 10 when Sarah gets here.
The grant updates. Hoping you all saw the email that I applied for the Muni mini grant and was sort of like instantly approved with record time. So it is an energy grant. However, there is an opportunity to apply for an ADA assessment of the old town offices. So I'm gonna be working with Callie Fishburne on developing the plan going forward. But I'm hoping you all read the agreement and are willing to sign
Mhm.
on this, so I can move forward.
Okay.
Okay, so the only other update was on the watershed grant. We're gonna hold off until the fall round. I think Kate Cooper and I were hoping to do like an inventory with this grant, an inventory on erosion needs and watershed needs around the Hoosic. But apparently we already have the capacity to do that, and the Bennington Conservation District will help us do that free of charge, so it doesn't make sense to apply for a grant for that. So we're gonna hold off until the fall round so we can really develop a good plan and a competitive application.
Very good.
So the only thing I want to clarify a little bit on the watershed grant update was, this specific grant, watershed grant was specifically for the Hoosic River area, not our other watershed.
That's what we were going to, yeah.
That's right, that's what we were headed for on this one. Even though there are other watershed areas in the town, so this was, specific one was for the Hoosic River watershed, just so it clears up any
Yep.
question on where it was. Anybody have any questions on the uni grant or the,
No.
I'll entertain a motion to sign the MERP mini grant award, as Tara has signed it to us and we reviewed it. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or further discussion on that?
No.
All those in favor? Okay. We got our update, we're good. Discussion of moving remaining monies in the PHRL fund, the newly established cemetery reserve fund and possible action.
Okay, so way back during budgeting time, we were talking about the need for cemetery funds. And at one point, you all approved me using some of that money to start the cemetery mapping system, which is underway and working pretty well and will be online very soon. But there was still the issue of could we establish a cemetery fund or not? So we had to put that out to vote. The voters decided, yes, we should have a cemetery fund. So there was just the last formality of moving that Pownal Housing Rehabilitation Revolving Loan Fund money, the remaining amount over. Which I have, the remaining amount was $13,798.96. So that will go into the cemetery fund and be used for the perpetual care of our cemeteries.
Line item after.
So that will dissolve the PHRRL fund line, yes.
All right.
Or account.
Make a motion to move the, you say 13,000.
$13,798.96.
$13,798.19.
96 cents.
96 cents.
I wrote down.
Donald, I think she's here.
To the newly established cemetery reserve fund.
I'll second.
Any more discussion on that? I think everyone knows what that fund was.
Yep.
And it's pretty self-explanatory on where it's going. As long as we don't have any more questions and one more discussion, I have a motion, I have a second. All those in favor? All right, so we'll go to the cannabis license.
We're flying right through.
Smoke it if you got it.
Jeez.
Angie would be so proud tonight.
Okay, so we have an application. This is just a formality again. You guys, it's kind of like the liquor licenses where as long as they're complying with the permitting and the zoning here in town, it's just kind of to improve it. So this is for Frank Farm LLC Alternatives. It is a manufacturer's tier 1 and the addresses are not for public.
Okay, sorry about that.
Sorry, Paul.
That's okay. Well, no, dear God, no.
So yeah, it's just usually the business name that we share and the tier of application they're
Yeah.
applying for.
Make a motion to accept the application.
I'll second.
Oh,
Any
we're
more
gonna
discussion?
open that up a little bit.
Any more discussion? Being no more discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Okay,
so I believe we have Sarah here now, so we will go back to item 10 on the agenda with Donald Campbell from the Land Trust and Sarah Gardner from Williams College. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
Nice to see you all again.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, thanks. So in the fall, I felt like we were gonna have to be picking out curtains or something like that. We saw so much of each other. It was-
Yeah, no kidding, right, we were, yeah. Whether it was in the conversation or in person, you know, we spent some.
It was
time.
pretty intense, but we got through it and you ended up buying it and it was great. So this is about the Pownal Town Forest and I'll pass these two around. Sarah, I'm gonna give this one to you eventually, but you all know this. This is in the pink, the Pownal tannery land that was done back in early 2000s. And then the red is the 300+ acres that was added.
We'll put one of these copies in.
Great. Should have sent it to you.
That's
Yep.
fine, we'll put it into the minutes.
This is straight out of your interim management plan that was written by your staff. So as a result of, that was a $300 and something thousand project. Most of it was state money that came in, Vermont Housing Conservation Board, and $110,000 of private money came in too. And Pownal put about 43,000 into it. So that was a great acquisition, and I guess you have more to come with as you kind of work on the access piece, and that would be exciting to see that roll out. But one of the conditions of accepting that grant from the Vermont Housing Conservation Board was that you create an interim management plan, which is this. You haven't seen that, you can have that. And that's just meant to get you by for a year or two to have a chance to develop a full management plan. The last time you did this, you hired somebody to do the full management plan back in 2002, I think it was. And they did a great job. It's a plan that we share with other communities as example of a really good management plan. So sometimes people cobble it together themselves, other times they hire somebody to do it. But through my connections with Sarah Gardner, through the Center for Environmental Studies at Williams College, I know that she has a program where they can go into a community and they can work intensively with that community on something that the community is trying to do. And I can't really explain your program. So I wonder if I could maybe ask you to do that. But the point of it, I think, is maybe this is a group that could help work with your Conservation Commission or other citizens that are interested, and kind of coordinate a community process that involves public meetings and involves time on the land and a certain amount of mapping and photographs and biological assessment, whatever else is needed. And from that, you could develop a full management plan. And so,
Question, Donna.
yeah,
Is this part separate from the forestry part of it?
yeah, that's really
Or is
good.
this going to be I'm gonna put this.
Yep. You're on the right track.
You know what I'm trying to say is that the forestry part of it is going to be one part of it, the environmental part, we'll mesh them together. Okay.
Right. So there are two, there are kind of two plans. And when this was created, an addendum was the forest management plan. So I didn't copy it into here because it's so long. But the forest management plan does need to be developed by a professional forester. And that's a requirement of any logging that you do. So if you're going to do any logging in there, because it's all in the land trust, you need to have a long-term forest management plan. If you're not going to log it, you don't have to have the forest management plan from our point of view. So the forest management plan is more about, if you want to do management there, getting somebody to help you kind of figure out what that management looks like. And that's really separate from your process.
Yeah, separate from her, that's where I wanted to get in at. That's separate from what you want to do.
Right. So probably a good idea to do that at some point, because now you have these funny pieces fit together, the 700 and the 300. And what we're trying to do is to get it so you can treat it as one big kind of management unit. And so it makes a lot more sense, both from a forest management, but also from a recreational management and a educational. And
I actually had a question about the recreation piece. Do you work at all on that side of things, or would that be more of a collaboration where we're developing like a recreation plan that coincides with the forest management?
why don't you tell them what to do, because I don't know.
There we go. That's probably the best bet.
I mean, I teach upper level environmental studies students. And it's a class that's required for them. Mostly they're seniors, so they have pretty good background. And they work usually in teams of 3. And they work for usually towns or organizations with a client. And in this case, I think Don at VLT would be the client.
Could
Or
the
could
town
be-
and could we work together?
Yes,
Okay.
sometimes there's 2 clients, yeah, that could work out. And so we really do whatever the scope of work is that's developed. So we've done a whole range of plans. We've done, open space plans. We've done a lot of bike trail plans. I've done a bunch of projects that involve the town of Pownal. We work with the Bennington County
Regional Commission?
Regional Commission on like the trail that goes, the proposed bike trail several years ago. I've done other projects, recreation project. We did a redevelopment plan for the town water, site near the old Superfund site, the tannery.
Yep.
A reuse plan for that. Haven't done anything here in over 5 years though. So basically to answer your question, we can do any sort of work, whatever the client wants done. And then we just need to develop a scope of work that's manageable to be done by a team of 3 students with the oversight of the client in one semester.
Okay.
So sometimes we do a piece of a plan.
Yep.
Or sometimes we can do the whole plan.
Okay.
It really depends what you need and if it's really, really technical, it's probably, like we can't do a forest management plan because.
No, yeah, you're right.
Right, but if it's, there's several things that the class is really good at. They're good at doing like public outreach, for example, if that's part of a plan. We can do mapping. We can do sort of basic site assessment. And any other sort of research, interviews, on the ground work. Yeah, it really ranges. So whatever works out, whatever's developed, we like to be helpful.
We haven't had a chance to really prepare for this or
Yeah.
talk about this, but from the land trust perspective, the management plan is meant to be a tool that benefits the town as much as anything else. So an opportunity for them to state what they would like to see happen and for us to sort of approve it all at once. So they don't have to keep coming back all the time for approvals. They can kind of say, here's what we're going to plan for the next 10 years. We're going to put in trails here. We're going to put in cabins here. We're going to do blah, 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 blah. And then we can kind of, if there are problems, we can identify them and work on them, but otherwise we can kind of let the whole thing go forward. So mapping would be a really key part of that. I think recreational, a requirement of it is a certain amount of public engagement, and that takes time and effort.
Very good at
pulling
that.
people together. Mike, when you first started talking about this, your previous board was talking about cabins and trails and all that kind of stuff. It sounds great, and it would need some design, it would need some kind of working out. And so one of the things that might be possible would be to kind of come up with a sense of what the town really wants,
Yeah.
and then what's feasible under the conservation
Yeah.
easement, and then kind of make that
Make a scope of work.
tangible.
Yeah, it'd be good to work out, to sort of rough out everything you want done there in terms of the plan, everything that's possible. And so as much of, the more that can be worked out before September, the better. So the more defined the scope of work is, the more, the sooner they can get going
Correct.
on conducting the work.
That was the question I was going to ask you is with timeframe. And you said it's September.
September. And it's.
Yeah.
What's that?
But that gives-
September is a drop dead date.
But that gives a good amount of time to sort of think about it.
Yes.
And
Well, that's when your new students are gonna be taking this over, right? The first semester, right?
yes, they do the work in the fall.
Right, that's what I thought. Okay.
And we have some, we're gonna be scheduling some project kickoff meetings, with anyone that's interested, so. Once we get that sort of up and going, I think we'll have a better idea of exactly what we'd wanna see from the students. If the board approves us moving ahead with the partnership.
I think from, my standpoint, what I'd like to see is obviously co-working with our Conservation Commission, and you brought that up, working with our Parks and Rec, our Parks and Rec Committee. Donald touched on some of the things that we had talked about in our initial conversation. And we can certainly revisit this with you if we decide that we're gonna partner, which I
Yeah,
don't see why we wouldn't, but, we had talked about some lean-tos, some campsites, tent platforms. We talked about maybe a pavilion where local schools could take their class, hike into the pavilion and, have a nature class, go find 5 edible plants or whatever, right? I'm being,
Yeah.
right, I'm probably reaching here, but those were all ideas that we had.
Yeah.
One of the things that was big, Donald, I was big on, ADA access for an ADA qualified person with a, motorized, four-wheeler side by side or whatever. I'd like to do, I got a lot of things in my head, okay?
Mike, we have plenty of time.
I know. I just want to I just want to give Sarah.
looks like we can do all that in a semester or not.
Yeah, right.
But that's the question I was gonna ask you. We're talking 3 students.
Yeah.
For the project.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to get okay, let's scope this down to figure out what
yeah,
the resources that you're bringing into it so that we can turn around and get the proper project for you.
Like a per million.
I think it has to come from the. group
Yeah,
that's working.
that would be helpful.
Yeah, because there's a lot, we have lots of great ideas, but there are requirements we have to meet
Right.
Right.
from the VLT, from the Vermont Housing Conservation Board, and from VORIC.
Yep.
So before we can go to all the fun campsites and all this, we have to
Basics.
really map a trail, we have to do a trail.
We need to have map
all of
system,
that,
the trail,
Other things.
the trails that are up there, the logging trails that are there need to be mapped out so that we know.
For today, what we need to know is, do we have your blessing to work together and to partner on this? And then we'll sort of figure out the other details later.
I guess,
Tell them about the exorbitant cost.
The exorbitant costs, yeah, we're very affordable. Yeah, we don't cost anything.
so. Okay,
Right,
I guess
right, right.
let's go the next step.
I think it's a great opportunity for you to tap into some real mapping expertise and just to have some conveners on it to help Tara with
Yeah.
she could probably do it all alone because she did most of this.
No, I don't think I should do it all alone.
But I think it would be, in terms of getting the public involved and doing all that kind of stuff, it seems like it'd be great to have some.
That would be great, but I think the mapping expertise is what we really need.
Mhm.
So that we have an idea of exactly what we have up there for trail resources.
It'd be great to have a good trail map and
I like the hands-on idea.
Yeah,
It is
we can do the
definitely-
mapping. We have, they do learn basic mapping and we have a mapping sort of tech person that helps the class. So
Perfect.
they could GPS trails if that was something you wanted us to do. Yeah. It sounds like a great project with a lot of potential.
Yep.
Is there a timeline when this whole plan has to be in place?
we extended it. So when we wrote it, it's supposed to be done within a year of closing, which would have been this fall. But we
Okay,
put an extra year in. So
Okay.
we have through the year of 25.
Yeah, and
Right.
that's sort of when the grant ends also, so we're,
Yeah.
that's our deadline for everything.
So certainly anytime in early 25 would be well within the range.
Yes.
Yeah.
are you going to get other grants to help make all this happen?
Well, we have the VORIC grant, which is I think it's $325,000, that we're gonna be working with.
And that's for, trails and parking.
Yeah.
Trails,
ducks and-
parking lot, all of the,
Yeah, so
Does that,
should be able to do it.
Does
this is a project that's going to have,
does the board grant also include the other side of this would be the forestry management plan.
We have to have a recreation plan for Vork.
Right.
We have
Correct,
to have the
correct,
forest
but you're right.
management plan for the
Okay.
HCD.
Having,
They're going to coincide, they're gonna intermingle.
Yeah, the forest.
Right.
Hold on one at a time, because we're all over the place here. I want to make sure we can hear. Go ahead, one.
I know, one thing that I think we'd all like to do is connect the trails to the Hopkins Forest trails up there. You know, or
Is it a
the Taconic Crest Trail.
Oh, yeah, so this
That
goes.
would be
to
nice
Taconic
to
Crest.
really-
We're required by Vork actually to
We would-
take on.
It's close to the Crest Trail. It's just really getting, you know, I don't think we can to the mass side.
Oh.
Is it New York up there?
It's New York.
Yeah.
I believe we connected to kind of Crest Trail.
Yeah.
We,
You do?
We above.
Not quite to the trail, but to the
Yeah,
property
we
on
abut
which
it
the
and
trail
that's-
runs. I hiked up there one day just to see, because I
You
thought,
guys almost killed me one day.
well, no, I hiked up to the Crest Trail and I thought I was gonna have to go in for a little EKG after that, but it's quite a pull. The last part of it is pretty steep.
a very.
I know. Identify it. That would be nice. And I
Yeah,
think that'd be good.
some potential routes now. Yeah.
So that's exciting. Yeah. So Hopkins Forest is part of CES. So we manage Hopkins Forest. So that's a good fit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be excellent. And that is the plan. Great,
It's their plans.
to connect it.
I think.
I would like to connect this to as much as we possibly
That'd
can.
be a nice tributary.
We have to connect to the Crest Trail, Taconic Crest.
That's,
It's a grant requirement.
oh, okay.
There's several routes that get up there now.
Mhm.
One is practically a road at this point, but,
Oh.
so there are routes. It's just, some of them will need engineering and water bars and, you know, just
Yeah,
the stuff.
signage.
Mhm.
Lots of signage.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah, no, I mean, Mike and I were talking about, there's an effort, we're making an effort to extend the Taconic Crest Trail up to Manchester if we can, up towards Mark Forest.
Right.
So it's sort of a long-term effort, but,
oh,
you know, it'd be really nice to connect this to all of the Taconic Crest that goes down through Massachusetts and then, don't know how you get over Bennington, but you know, from Shaftesbury up to Manchester, makes a pretty neat little, alternative to the Appalachian Long Trail corridor up to Green Mountains.
Yeah, it's just another thing for somebody who likes to do that kind of stuff to do, right? It's just another adventure,
Mhm.
right?
Find some good water. That'd be good.
Does, anybody have any more questions for Sarah? I think we're on the right page here, or Donald.
Yeah, and the only thing I would say is, if we did the forestry management plan, that would have to be current use compliant.
I think our forestry management plan is separate from what.
I understand that, but it says forestry management plans,
I know,
and we
but
were
if you
talking
separate
about
from what's there,
forestry management plan, so.
I don't think I think it's a good idea to think about a forest management plan because, you know, how management works, so
But do we, correct?
you don't have to do it for this, but it'd be awesome.
I know, that's fine, I just want to make sure that, okay, because it is a forest and it should be
Well, I think.
utilized for that too.
I think we need to talk about that, and I think we need to look into having a county forester
I go 100% agree with you.
go into the forest management portion of it, but, you know, I think right now it's.
No,
Yeah, one good thing is you already have two plans. You have the plan that's on the tannery land and then you have the plan that came from the Boyces. So you have fellow from Clarksboro did, who's your forester?
Bruce Richards.
Bruce Richards.
I was drawing a blank myself. Oh, come on.
So, you know, if you can get those two plans to fit together, they could become one kind of nice management.
Mhm.
I think it's great, Carl, not to lose track of that.
No, I agree.
good to keep a healthy environment.
Yeah.
That's what the forest means.
What's,
I think one of the things we'd be looking for would be to make sure it's clear what Tara's role in this is, you know, to make sure that Sarah knows who she has to talk to, whether she's talking to you or whether she's talking to the board or whether she can just work through Tara on this.
I prefer her to work through Tara. Then Tara can come and come to us.
well, I think there's something we need to decide right now.
Yeah.
I think there's two things we need to decide. We need to decide for sure if we're gonna, partner up with Sarah and Williams College. Right? And then we need to, if we're going to do that, then we need to definitely appoint a point of contact person.
All right, I'll make the motion that we work with Sarah on a plan.
Second that.
Any more discussion on it? Any more questions? All those in favor?
I
I'll entertain a motion to
have,
appoint Tara as our point of contact person with Sarah and to coordinate with Sarah, as long as you're willing, with Sarah, the Conservation Commission and the Parks and Rec. So that everything gets coordinated.
I'll make the motion.
Second it.
Any more discussion on that? Any questions? That's clear for everybody, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay. All those in favor? Thank you,
both
Sarah.
for coming down.
Thank you, Don. Good to see you.
Great, good to see you again too. Yeah, it's a great project.
A lot less pressure this
A
time.
lot less pressure this time. This is the fun part. I mean, this should be the fun part, the big thinking part, so.
The last few times were, there was some pretty pressure packed in.
You know what? You did a great job. I mean, you and the whole board did a great job of getting through that. Not every community could have done that, so thank you for that leadership.
There was times.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm out of the stress yet. How come I feel like I'm still in the?
Because you got a year to go. You got a year to go. Okay, the grant's not done yet, Sarah.
Program thing needs to be sort of nailed down and salted away too, you know,
It's-
that's a big deal, so,
Yeah, well, we have the agreement, so
yeah,
trying to work, yeah.
great. Well, we three can be in touch.
Yes, I will be. I will definitely. Thank you both.
Thank you both for coming.
Good to see you all.
Nice to meet you.
All righty.
I never actually met you, but I'm sure I will next time.
Well, you know my brothers, Matt and Mark, so.
Oh, okay. Gardner.
Yeah, and we're no relation. I've already said that once, so I don't.
Are you sure? Are you sure about that?
Oh, I'm pretty sure, but maybe not.
Okay.
Thanks,
Bye.
Sarah. Have a good night.
Good night.
Thanks, Donald. Oh, I get my glasses on. We are at public comment.
Shortly after, the FDA looked into a ban on formaldehyde in hair straightening products. The agency plans to propose a ban.
Hey, Jim.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I was just waiting. Jim Kosis, North Mason Hill Road. First of all, that was a very interesting, discussion. I want to just compliment you guys. I mean, I'm not sure if anyone else has done it, but what you've done for the forest property over there, increasing what the, donation of the land, Allen property and everything like that, making it into a really nice place for Pownal and people to hike. My one concern, and I'm just concerned with the conservation meetings and stuff like that are there any, and I just want to make sure we're all prepared for this, but are there any right-of-way camps that are available or existing on the town portion of now the forest and everything up there that when it comes to hunting season, people are gonna be out there hunting or hiking and everything like that. Is there any anything that needs to be posted concerning hunting and hikers in that whole area? So I just want to throw that out. Second of all, I just wanted to find out now that you're dissolving the housing authority account. I just want to make sure that we've gone through that anyone that had received a loan through the revolving housing account has paid up, or everything's just kind of been defaulted, or no, there's no more monies that are due into that account and everything's kind of been paid up. And then the last thing is at the beginning of the meeting, you did a shout out for the road crew. They just did an excellent job up on our road, cleaning out all the ditches on the side of the road for runoff and everything like that. So I just want to do a shout out to Joel and his guys. Mike is just been a great guy up there to kind of work with and make sure everything is done properly. So you guys have a great night and thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any more public comment here?
Did I read this?
Nobody else?
Yep.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to enter executive for personnel.
So move.
Second.
In that motion or in that executive session, it will be the board. And the executive assistant in that executive session. All right. I have a motion. I have a second. All those in favor? An executive session for personnel.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
It is with great pleasure that I'd like to announce that Tara has completed the courses required to become a Vermont certified public manager, which was part of when we hired her, that was part of the agreement.
Mhm.
With that being said, and I'll entertain a motion to increase her pay effective next pay period to the budgeted amount starting fiscal year July 1 for 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Sarah. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
No, we'll just get handed through the same thing and we're gonna be golden. No other business to come before the board tonight. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make the motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.